So then I go to Galveston. From Galveston, I take another drive back to Luckenbach. You know, and I have to talk to the dude Hondo. Now Hondo's gone, you know, but he's still got a hell of a lot to say, you know. So I have a conversation with Hondo. Hondo's whole concept is just sell him a memory. Don't worry about it, you know. And I'm like, cool. So I'm looking for Willie, you know, and this is the memory I'm going to sell him. And I'm going to different places, and I go to like this place in San Antonio, Willie's Bar and Grill, because it's named Willie, and I'm looking for Willie. And they were like, is Willie going to show up here? And I said, I don't know, I'm looking for him, you tell me, you know. And I end up back here at the Hilltop, and this is actually when I met Willie. It was the first time Pootie brought him for me to meet him. And the guy, like, was so cool. He sat down and he had time to sit down and look at this entire thing up to here where he was in it, and had the time to stand there and listen to all the little stories that I started getting into, which were a lot more than I'm getting into right now. And the only thing Willie had to say is he pointed at the drawing, he looked at me and he smiled and he said, "You're there." You know, and I was like, those are the exact same words from Pootie, "You're there." You know, whatever that means and wherever that is, you know, I'm there. You know? But then I do this little thing about Pootie. It's my baby Pootie New Year, you know, and did a little drawing about that. Welcome to Pootie. And our first project we did was with the Cross Canadian Ragweeds, which I drew this poster, and we made, I think it was like 50 posters, and then sold them, you know, when Cross Canadian Ragweed played here. You know, then a bunch of things happened, you know, this and that and the other, and I'll leave, and as you could tell, Louisiana and Mississippi, you know. Now, I love this blend right here, because when I'm doing this blend, what you're getting ready to see, I see the whole thing is this, you see these lines, I see this blend as it starts to go, because Moby in the morning, you know, this well, and how it splashed from water into the mountains because it's snowing, you know what I mean, and how that flowed and that flipped, it was just so beautiful, you know, into Florida, you know. Now, my friend that works at Disney World, Robert Borey's a dyslexic alien at Disney World, and he's telling me these jokes, and I turn him into this cartoon character, and I start drawing his jokes for him, you know, as he's telling me these jokes, like Hi-Ho Silver, he just grabs the silver and he pulls it off, and he's telling me the story about where I wonder where these frog legs came from, and there's these frogs underneath here, you know, and I'm going to give you a little pep talk. Hopefully you won't be insulted, you know. What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef, you know. These are some, to me, I think they're funny as hell because they're just stupid little jokes, and I really love stupid jokes, you know. I'm going to muster up another joke. Let's see if you can catch up, you know, stuff like that. You know? And you start to see the flow. Part of it's what's happening, part of it is the jokes. And this idea right here in the drawing, because a lot of people that I show the art to are sitting in a restaurant and they're sitting in a booth, and there's somebody over here and there's somebody over here. I thought I'd give them both something to look at the same time, instead of one of them looking at it upside down. I figured they could both look at it upside down, you know, so that's why it flipped to that. And then this flipped to a journey into Disney World. Where dear Walt walked the same ground as you, because each step into Disney World presents itself its own piece of art, you know? And ironic as hell, this is when we start the war in Iraq. You know? Now the journey begins to travel again. The art begins to travel. And a lot of this art is done literally you know, 1-2 days, no sleep, I haven't eaten, I can't see straight, and a lot of it I'm just drawing, I'm not even looking at it as I'm drawing it. It's just the thought that I'm trying to capture, you know. And this was one of my son's heroes. He died. His name was DJ Screw, and he does that Swisher gangster rap stuff. Well, I went to his studio and I met the people that around his studio, and I talked to his parents. And I did that for my son and incorporated him into the art. And there were some pretty cool people. Actually, me and my son pulled up, and I'm in this car that's painted up. It's got dolphins and whales, this fish painted all over it, you know, and I look like I look. And my son, you know, he's half Spanish, and he looked more Spanish than white, with super short hair, the way the Mexicans dress and everything. And we get out, and here's these huge gangster black people, and they come up to me, you know, and they're like, "What do you want?" You know, and I look up at him, you know, and I just dropped the drawer and I opened it up and I caught them all, and they all just came in, and we got my son got to see all the love that the art will give you. It'll cross all those borders. It doesn't matter race, creed, religion, whatever, you know. And he got to see the embracement of it, and that was really cool, you know. And then this is back into Lukenbach, and I wanted to do an Easter card, and this is the drawing of my Easter card, which is I thought I saw a Pootie rabbit. And Pootie would love it when I did stuff like that. And you'll notice most of the rabbits are red, and there's one white rabbit, and there's a reason for that, because there's a reason for everything in the drawing itself if it was all completely dissected. This is showing you, man, you get so hot you start getting delusional, you know, because of Texas heat. Of course, Grateful Dead, Lewis and Clark. My friend Mr. Moby and his wife. Back in the Fayetteville, and I was in a newspaper. This guy Roger wrote an article about me. And this is based on a mural that I was painting. And this was the first preliminary sketch for the idea for the mural. You know, this is like my mom's house in North Carolina. But this is got a picture of me and Willie in Texas, of Willie looking at the art, and got it put in the newspaper in North Carolina. And I used to run copies of this right here, and I would sit in a restaurant as I was drawing, and I would tell somebody, you know, I used to ask the question, could I sell you a drawing? And then I started asking the question, could I sell you a copy of the drawing? Now I want to know if I can sell you a copy of a picture of me showing Willie the drawing. And I'd sell it every time, you know. It was amazing, you know. See, and what I did was each year I called a book. See, book 5 means we're into the 5th year of the drawing. And you notice that this drawing is completely left to right. It's not, it's completely right to left. It's not left to right as normally a drawing should go. Start here and it should grow this way, right? You would think mine starts here and grows this way because it was exit stage left, you know. I believe that was it, you know. And then it flips over and it goes the other way as time goes on, you know. And this is another picture, a painting I was doing for somebody. I ended up trading them out a car for painting a mural for them, and these were sketches for a restaurant that I did in North Carolina, ideas. This was another sketch for an idea that I painted, you know. This is a picture of me and my son when he was 2. This is a picture of me in a newspaper when I was painting a mural. This is a piece of the mural to show the concept of how tall and big the mural. This mural here was over 300 feet long. Now this explains, see, I had this idea, this dog, and That's Mr. Buster Brown, and I did a series of comics, and I got one of them put in the newspaper. And then where this ends right here, the next piece on this part right here, this is where we start to go beyond Nevermore. And this part right here, you can see this is a picture of my son I drew when he was asleep. He signed it right here. Then he died. Then my son died. And so after he died, I changed the drawing. There was some more in between that and this. And now we start to go beyond Nevermore. And here you see ravens are coming to me, but I don't think you get a good focus. That's a live raven. But here is my son talking to my friend Gerald. So watch me as we start to go. And this part right here is after I talked to Pootie about what's left. And what's left is the drawings from beyond my son's grave. So in this part right here, I'm heading back west. And now it's me and the dog, the Pootie dog. Seeing like this part where he's, dude, there's Wilson. If you ever saw the movie Castaway. Now here's where my van had car problems just before the concert. And I met this dude, Big Al. And the gnomes are like the problems that we have on our journey, you know, the damn gnomes, you know. And I see Willie and Pootie up there in Flagstaff. And from there I go to the Grand Canyon. And here I stood on the edge of the Grand Canyon. And here I'm over the edge of the Grand Canyon. And the Pootie dog is, honest dude, I didn't dig that hole. Here we sit on the edge, you know, on the edge of Nevermore. Then Pootie dies. Well, now this part right here is before Pootie died, and this part right here, this was the second book. And in this part right here, it's not. You see, I'm putting it in color now. And it was in black and white. I had it put into books. And, this was actually me meeting Pootie and him explaining to me I'm not really crazy because he could see it. This expresses the emotions of yesterday and the angels from the day. Here was in Lukenbach where I drew myself a hamburger. Was a good guy. He died a few months ago, actually. But this was years ago that I did this part right here. And a lot of this is in black and white. These are Pootie. People Pootie introduced me to. This is Freddie Powers. These are different Bud Rott. Different music guys and friends of Pootie's and family of Willie's, you know, that I met when I was traveling and coming through here into Lukenbach. James Hand. James Hand, very cool dude. Debbie Walton. Resemblance. It was odd. This was a tattoo parlor in Houston that I went to. That I met this dude that was a tattoo artist, and I went to his tattoo parlor. And about a year later, I ended up marrying the girl that owned that same tattoo parlor. Didn't meet her at that time, but These are different ideas for cartoons that I'm putting in color now. So you can see. None of this is finished. This is Pootie and Wooly. And this is me telling Wooly thank you. Telling Pootie he's got to be the coolest dude I've ever met. Pootie and Shay. But I like the way this worked right here. And then this is when I told Willie's grandson he tried to give me a drink of whiskey, and I said, dude, I can't drink that. And he said, why? And I said, because if I do, I'll be singing that song, I'll never drink whiskey with Willie's grandson again. And he was like, his name's Brian, and he was like, man, that's so cool, you should write that song. I said, I'll tell her you know. And very cool dude, Josh Griner. This is Moby, my friend. Moby's the main character continuously through the art. Pootie, main character continuously through the art. In life and death both. The truth of the deal is we're main characters constantly in the art. They were a constant good influence and still are a constant influence in the art. Place I found the Damn Pub in Buckham, Texas. Pauline Reese was a major constant influence in the art. These were Billy Joe Shaver, Shay, Willie's grandkids worked in here. Each one of these would have a different story if I got into the story. Then it would get to be a little too long. And this is when I caught what Pootie said about the people. So here, I'm telling you, every one of these people that you see here is every one of these people I sat and talked to, and every one of these people I had a story to tell. It gets mind-boggling. And we're going into Willie's world. And I met Susie, Willie's daughter, Susie. Willie's grandson, Brian. Larry Trader. I love that guy. He's so cool. This is my concept of a day of golf at Willie's place. Spending a day with those guys. Alright. This was Lost Lonely Boy's dad, and this was the fire station people there. This is another one of Willie's grandsons, Anthony. This is Ted way down there. Everything becomes a Tedism. Everybody here, Rusty Weir, very cool dude. He introduced me to the Rusty Slide, and what that was about. One of Willie's son-in-law, and Sid, Debbie Walton, Jim Lee Jones. Major dude in the art, constant throughout it. So what I did was I spent, I guess, about a year hanging out here at Pootie's Hilltop and meeting all these people and dipping into Willie's world and Poothieville here. And, this is when my car broke down. And the dog was on guard all night because we were stuck down in the ghetto, and he kept the bat away from me all night. And this was Gerald come and saved me, and my friend Jim Campbell fixed my car for me. That shows that. He got into that, but this is quoted Jesus. I never said it would be easy. I only said it would be worth it. And sometimes God talks to all of us, I guess, not just me, But this is showing the flow of keeping on and keeping on, And this is the dentist I met. I met this dentist. I was having problems with my teeth, so I drew myself into this dentist door, Dr. Anderson, and he was like, I just want to be part of your art and I'll take care of you. And so he stayed a constant in my art and he's taking care of it. Django Walker, Jeff Walker's son, Joe King Crosco. And this was when Richard Pryor had died, and we sat here at the hilltop, and Booty knew them. This is another troubadouric thing. And Ben Dorsey, who's a major dude in Willie's world. And I'd come in here every day, every week when the troubadours would play, and I'd say, today you're skunks, or today you're mice, and I'd draw them as different characters, and you know, every week they'd be somebody different, you know. And this is Christmas time, you know, which comes into Pootie, and toward the end of this part. Now, as this part ended was when this part here began, and this is Dear Willie. I never cared too much for the human side of me. Always been amazed at the creature inside of me, and never understood why. I stayed on the outside looking in. And this guy, is this God's way, the art way, or was I wrong to just chase a drawing and nothing more? Thinking Willie would know the answer. He chased a song and nothing more. I chased a drawing and nothing more.